Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on today's show, well, much like me, I think a lot of you all are actually anxiously awaiting the debut of the brand new Gt500 Mustang that'll make its official debut at the Detroit Motor Show. But if you would like to get your grubby little mitts on the very first one coming off the assembly line, much like the folks over at Toyota, they're sending this thing across the auction block in Scottsdale, Arizona, at the Berrett-Jackson auction later in January. Now, this particular deal brings up an interesting little head-to-head between Toyota and Ford to see just who can bring out more money for charity. The charity of choice for Ford is going to be the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Now, I've got a little prediction to make. Because auctions like this, much like Berrett-Jackson or Mecum or the like, are a little bit more muscle car centric, I think the Ford is actually going to take the win in this deal by at least $20,000 over the Supra. Now, it'll be interesting to see just how close I am to being right, and I'll definitely keep you in tune of who the winner is between these two powerhouses going into the Berrett-Jackson auction later in January. Speaking of muscle cars, the folks over at TVR and all of us are anxiously awaiting this vehicle getting into actual customers' hands, but we've got a little bit of a problem. In fact, a delay going on with the TVR Griffith. And it doesn't have anything to do with the Gordon Murray design. It doesn't have anything to do with that beautiful, normally aspirated Cosworth V8 that's going inside of the machine. It has to do with the factory in Wales. Now, factory delays because of something that's going on in the factory is nothing new, but this is an interesting little wrinkle that's going on, what's going to delay this vehicle by possibly upwards of 6 months. Now, it all revolves around that factory in Wales, and the fact that the Welsh government owns 3% of TVR. Now, the folks over at TVR want to do a little renovation work, a little tooling work to this factory, but instead of going out and getting whoever they dang well please to outsource this contracting situation, because they're government owned, it means they've got to go through the government channels and put it out for a bid, especially to a lot of government contractors. So this is a situation the TVR folks are hoping to get this deal wrapped up possibly by year's end, maybe early into January. They think maybe the work can possibly be done as early as late March and they can get to building these cars. So the possibility of folks getting their cars instead of in the springtime, early to mid-spring, now possibly mid to late summer, possibly maybe even the later part of the year. But we'll definitely keep in tune of what we hear about this situation. Next up on the list, well, check out this machine. This is the brand new Lincoln Continental 80th Anniversary Coach Door Edition. Basically, what the folks over at Lincoln have done is they've taken the standard Lincoln Continental that's actually built in Michigan, shipped one of those new Continentals over to Boston to a Coachworks who's actually going to lengthen this car by 6 inches and flip those doors around to actually opening front to back instead of back to front like they are up front. Now, if you want one of these machines, there are only going to be 80 of them built in the year of 2019, possibly more coming up in 2020, for a starting price of a little over $100,000 US, which is actually pretty inexpensive, at least in my mind, especially for the sheer deal. How long has it been since we had a quote-unquote suicide door vehicle in sale, production model, and actually in somewhat production volumes here in the United States or almost anywhere else around the world? It'd be very interesting. If anybody knows that question, put it down in the show comments. But I've got a little interesting thing, which may be a far reach about this particular machine, but I had this little thought. What's the most popular car Lincoln actually builds? And you know what? Let's go back to the Continental for a brief second, because think of all the time that you've probably read or heard about that the Continental was on the chopping block. It's not selling well. My local Lincoln dealership in the town that I work in, actually I think I got about 6 of these sitting on the lot right now, so their days of supply is pretty horrific. But could this be the savior for not only Lincoln, but for the Continental itself? This small suicide doors, they're only going to build 80 of these machines. Because what's the best-selling vehicle, back to that question again, at Lincoln? It's possibly the Lincoln Navigator, their full-size SUV. But it doesn't even come close to outselling what its crosstown rival, the Cadillac Escalade, does. Why do the Escalades sell so much better? I have a little thought about that. This thing was hugely popular, not only in the music world, but also in music videos and music itself. What if this particular machine becomes the new it car in the music world? Think of this in a music video, showing up to a club, maybe even a music event. The artist comes sliding out from those suicide doors. What a dramatic entrance. What if this could be the new it car inside of the music world and the music video world? And this car could be the new it thing for Lincoln. Possibly saving the Continental, possibly saving Lincoln as a brand as a whole. Now, I know this might be a far stretch, Reese, but I'd love to know what you think about this particular situation. Last up on the list, well, if you like a little bit of hardcore action, especially the folks over at Porsche, but you don't want that 911 version, well, guess what? They got your back with the 718 Cayman and the 718 Boxster T editions. Much like the 911 T, it's a somewhat stripped-down version and also available with 3 pedals in the footwell. Now, when you buy one of these new Cayman Ts or Boxster Ts, both of them come with the 2-liter turbocharged flat 4, making 300 horsepower, 280 foot-pounds of torque. They either ship through a 6-speed manual transmission, which will do 0 to 60 jaunts in just 4.9 seconds, or you can get the 6-speed PDK gearbox that will do 0 to 60 runs in just 4.7 seconds, or 4.5 seconds if you put it in Sport Plus mode. Both of these vehicles will do a top speed of 170 miles an hour. Now, also with the T editions, you get bespoke wheels and sport seats that are lightweight. You get a little bit of lightweighting in the door cards as well. Gone are the door handles in favor of those nylon little cords that you can actually pull the door shut. And the infotainment system has been stripped out of the machine for the ultimate lightweight and the ultimate somewhat of a real back roads monster or even a track day monster. I like this. This is a pretty cool little addition. They haven't talked about pricing or availability, at least as of yet, on this particular machine. But there's a little thought in hand. Gosh darn, could you really buy a car in this modern day with no infotainment system? Well, guess what? Porsche 2 has got you in that situation because they'll give you the infotainment pack for free, which isn't a terrible deal. You don't have to pay extra for that particular setup. So we'll definitely keep you in tune if we hear more about this machine heading in the next several months. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiast. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time. Get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Now, this is possibly the last show of the year. So, no matter what holiday that you celebrate, I want you to have a happy and fun one. If you love Christmas, hope you have a Merry Christmas or a Happy Kwanzaa or Happy Festivus. Or if you're of the Jewish faith, you want to have a Happy Hanukkah. It's actually going on right now. I just wish you all the greatest of happiness through the holiday season. Hang out with family and friends, and also a great deal in the new year. We'll be back with brand new episodes coming out just after the 1st of January, so I cannot wait till then. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.